Perfect. So welcome to Grit Meets Growth. Today we're joined by John. Um, he runs Identity Quebec, which focuses on drug and alcohol screening for individuals and businesses, as well as verification and judicial verification. We're excited to hear about John's journey and the passion behind his work. So welcome, John. Thanks a lot for doing this. I'm really
Thank you. Thank
excited
you for
about
having me.
for
Thank you
sure,
for having me. Thank you. Appreciate it.
for sure. Cool. Then we'll just go into it, and I'll start with the first question that I have, which is, how did you think about starting this business? Like, what was the thought process that went behind when you were looking to explore different businesses, and how did you land up starting with this?
So, so basically, I have a police background. I worked for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police for 20 years. And while I was employed with them, the RCMP used to do that job, and they were thinking of outsourcing it to the private industry. So basically, we had a sit down with the family, and it's a family business. So we had to sit down with the family, and we took the decision to go forward in creating this company to do the background checks for individuals that need security clearances in different jobs.
Okay, cool. So basically, it came from first, like, from the family, and then obviously we were like, "Okay, this is something that you want to really start with." So yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Cool, right?
correct.
So since you have obviously been doing this for some time, and every business has their own challenges, like, do you want to
Yes.
talk about a couple of those challenges and how maybe you tackled them for
Well,
everyone who is doing this?
so
Yeah.
basically at the beginning, when we started Identity Quebec, there were three or four competitors in the large area of Montreal. So Montreal is like the biggest city in Quebec. So what we did is our strategy is we developed the business outside of Montreal. So we went in each region because the contract that we had with the local police was uh, if you did start this type of business in an area, you had to be open 1 day a week, and you had to be 50 kilometers from a police station. So basically, what we did is we took out a map, we looked at all the police stations in the province, and then we started strategizing on where we're going to put our offices. So what we did is we took control of the province outside of Montreal. So we opened like 16 offices in 4 months. So we were like a McDonald's. We were opening offices, looking for personnel, training, buying equipment, signing leases and stuff like that. So within 4 months, we had opened up 12 offices in the province outside of the region. And then when that was established a year after, then we took control of Montreal. We started putting a couple of offices in Montreal. So our competitors, when they saw that happen, they said, "Where did we come from? And how come we have so many offices all of a sudden?" And so while they were, because they assisted, they attended the same meeting we did with the police department. So their decisions were to be comfortable where they were and do their business. But we took an aggressive outlook on this, and we took, like I said, took control of the whole province, and then we came into the bigger populated area after that. So
Okay.
if you want to talk about challenges in there, I mean, we had a lot of challenges, like finding the personnel. So we had a team at our head office calling up. We had two people on the road, and those poor guys did about 100,000 kilometers in a year with a car. So they were driving all over the place, finding locations, passing interviews to hire people, making sure that we were within the police parameters, and making sure. So it was a nice challenge. It was very interesting.
That's nice. Again, right, like, I can't really imagine to like set up that many offices and that quickly. So yeah, that would have been a journey, or obviously there would have been an element of fun, but at the same time, some sort of nervousness as well when you're doing something out of
Of course, of course.
proportions. So, but yeah, like obviously,
Yeah.
since you did that and now you're out of it, now you obviously can look back and be like, oh, this was an amazing sort of thing that you did. But as
Yes.
a business, I can understand that uh, when you're starting to do something out of the box, you're like, is this is this something that I should do or not? You definitely have
Exactly.
some questions, but when you do
Like
it, you're like, okay,
any business owner, I mean, on a daily basis, you question your decisions. Am I doing the right thing? And I mean, I won't lie to you guys. I mean, it's like 13 years we're in business now, and I took some decisions that weren't that good. I mean, that that cost us money, and we learned from them, and then but we look back as a learning curve, and make sure you don't make that mistake twice.
so true, right? That's the
Yeah.
biggest sort of a thing, I guess, with the business that obviously that's not possible that we or anyone for that matter won't make mistakes. It's just about uh, learning quickly that it's a wrong one and maybe sort of adapting and maybe making amends so that you can maybe decrease the damage as much as possible and then come out of
Yes.
it. But at the same time, learning from that you don't really want to make a mistake, which is even obviously not the same one, but something that is not even similar to this. Because it's not like you don't really have an option of just keep committing mistakes, right? Obviously, you will commit mistakes, but then you have to learn from them. You'll have to come out from them and turn them into learnings that are
Yeah.
essential for your long run. So yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, uh, if you don't make a mistake, it's not you're not trying. You're not going forward. You're not.
true.
And most business owners, I mean, we uh, we think of all kinds of things. I mean, even my team right now, I come up with ideas, and they're the ones that hold me back sometimes. So basically, they say, "Okay, listen, we're gonna take that under advisement." And but when we first started, we were a very small team. So I mean, we were like 3, 4 people, and decisions were being made. And but there again, like I said again, I mean, if you don't make a mistake, you're not a business owner. I mean, you're gonna make mistakes. I mean, it's gonna cost you a bit of money too. So I mean, you're gonna some days you're going to say, what did I just do there? And the next day you say, okay, how can I fix this now? So
So
that's the important part.
so the next sort of question that I had, right, was that obviously we talked about the business and we talked about different things, but what I wanted to know was the type of business that you are into, right? It's not a conventional sort of a business in a way that it's not easy to market it. Like it's not a t-shirt that you can be like, okay, I have a cool t-shirt, just try this out. So how do you go about creating a marketing strategy, or how do you sort of create ways of reaching out to people that they sort of remember you, and then when they're looking for something that aligns with what you provide, they can sort of reach out to you. Like, how do you do that?
So yeah, I mean, it's a very hard. It's not a business that we're not selling pencils or something that we always need on a daily basis. I mean, background checks, you do need them for security clearance for jobs and adoptions and stuff like that. And on the drug testing side, well, that is more a need for example truck drivers that go international from one end to the other. Um, but right now we're just doing the grunt work. I mean, we're picking up the phone and calling people. So right now, if I take it, for example, our drug testing department, um, we are very busy for with the lawyers that handle divorce cases and stuff like that, where the child custody is important, and we do test the parents because one parent accused the other one of taking drugs or alcohol or whatever, and the judge orders a drug test. So we've been certified by the family court, which that helps a lot. And right now, what we're doing is we're calling all lawyers that do family law, and we're actually offering them a 2-hour training for free. So, of course, nothing's for free, but we are offering it at them for free because now they're going to know what to ask for when they want a drug test. So they'll know what they're talking about. And basically, we're the only company in the province that offers this type of service. So it'll come back to us anyway. So that free service that we're giving them, it's gonna come back to us by another way or and so we do do publicity. I mean, like right now we're on the radio to encourage people not to drink and drive, and if they need technicians at their Christmas parties and stuff like that, we'll go there, and before the people take their car, we'll alcohol test them and make sure that they're below the limit to take their car. And if they're not, well, there's other alternatives. Taxi. There's an organization here called Operation Red Nose, which is volunteers that drive people back to their houses with their car. So, I mean, you give a donation, and it's usually for a local charity or whatever. So there is all these options for those people. But marketing, of course, we try and get Google AdWords up there. We spend a lot of money on Google AdWords. And basically, we got a person on the phone just calling these people. Hi, how are you? This is what we do. Um, Basically, the old-fashioned way. And it seems to be working very well. I mean, I think people want to get back to the contact, the voice on the phone, and not always get an email. Excuse me, an email pop up, and it's impersonal. And I think our strategy of being a family business, we take care of our customers like if they're part of the family. So even in our attitude when we market our products is the same thing.
That's amazing. That's fun. And again, right, like I can understand because it's a different, like as you mentioned, this is not a easy sort of a business to market in any particular way.
Exactly.
So that's great.
Yeah.
Cool. So again, right, like for all the viewers, we obviously are connected through BNI, but obviously most of the viewers don't know what BNI is. So maybe if you can just share, let's say, a bit about what BNI is and how has BNI sort of shaped you and your business in the
My
years that you.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Gotcha.
Well, BNI is basically an organization that's worldwide, and it's to make references, contacts between other business people across either the city, the provinces, the countries across the world. Right now, I'm doing business with somebody up in France through BNI. Um, the way that I look at BNI is I look at it as my toolbox. Okay. People around the table that are there. I mean, we got people, we got lawyers, notaries, we've got realtors, we've got finance people, we've got insurance, we've got all kinds of people around the table. And what's fun about all this with the BNI idea or way of doing business is that you can pick up the phone, and if I have a quick question to the notary, she's going to answer me, and she's going to give me the quick answer. And if I need more, well, then it'll go into a project, and then we'll be invoiced. But the first phone call we're going to give to this person, it's going to be like, it's like part of the family. I mean, it's like calling your brother or your sister, say, hey, what do we do about this? And so, well, you should do this and that. So the availability of the people around the table is golden. I mean, that famous toolbox that I call is precious. I mean, I use it on a daily basis. Even the meetings that we have once a week, they are, BNI, we meet once a week, and it's demanding at some point. I mean, you got to be there. It's early in the morning. It's breakfast and all that. But I take it as a commercial. So basically, take any product that's on the market right now, and you can, just by hearing a note, just by hearing the song or the thing, you could say, oh, that's a beer commercial. Oh, where they're selling XYZ, just because we keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. And that's the philosophy of BNI, is that having those meetings every week is you're always on the lookout to help other people around the table. Like if I'm talking to you and you're saying, listen, my network is not good. Well, hey, buddy, I got somebody that's in networking. I mean, maybe he could solve your problem. I'll put you in contact with him. So I just made a reference to somebody around the table. I mean, it might work, it might not work, but at least I'm passing the
Yeah,
like, I'm going to use a Canadian expression, but I'm passing the puck to the other person, so maybe he could
yeah,
he could score a goal or get the contract. So BNI, like I said, once again, it's my toolbox. It's the best organization I've ever been involved with so far. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, that's so true. Like it's just been 6 months for me in the BNI journey, but I can definitely say that it's one of the best organizations that I have sort of seen in terms of how they function. Like the discipline that I've seen in BNI is something that I've not seen anywhere, right? Like the meeting
exactly.
starts at 7. That
Yeah,
means it starts at 7. And all the people are there. Like in our chapter, there are like close to 50 people. And it's
yeah,
just, it's at times not just interesting, but at times mind-boggling that how can all people sort of, or let's say for more than 45 people every week are coming in at the same time or at the time. At times, people are there at 6:30. People are there at 6:45. They're like, okay, they're even
yeah,
um, like before the world wakes up. People are there in the meeting, and I'm like, okay,
yeah,
this
exactly.
is something. So
Yeah,
it's
and
something
and
extraordinary.
and they become more than just business partners. I mean, some of them they become friends. I mean,
Yeah,
we have good relationships with most of the people around the table. I mean, anybody, like we had one of our members was not doing too good business wise. I mean, he had his partner quit, and he was spiraling down. And everybody got together. We did a sort of a committee, an emergency committee takeover thing, and it took about 3 months, and he's back on his feet. And so that's
it's so good.
BNI also. I mean, if somebody's in trouble, everybody's going to put their hand to the wheel and help that person out.
That's so inspiring as well as amazing that how people can really help in that community, right? Like people like I've seen people that have built businesses in a way that they don't really need more connections, but they are just there to provide value. They're just there to help others grow. And
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, this is something different. Uh,
yeah,
so yeah, I can understand what you say. Cool. Okay, like since we talked about different ways of marketing and obviously BNI and other things, but now I want to know, like, let's say out of all the business that you generate, what are the different channels that sort of contribute to that so that anyone who is looking to start a business knows that these are the areas that they need to focus on to generate business for them? I know it will be different for people, but still, if
yeah.
you can talk about some of the biggest channels for you that can help people know
Well,
more
I
about
think the first thing is to have a good business plan. I mean, you got to plan it out on paper first of all, and see, and you got to sort of challenge yourself and say, hey, listen, where can I get in trouble? Where is it going to go be good? And that's your first exercise. I think you need to be done, and also get a good accountant, a very good accountant that you trust. He's going to be your best friend. He's going to be your worst enemy, because he's going to tell you you can't do that. You're going to be mad at him some days, and you're going to be ecstatic with his decisions on another one. Get yourself a good accountant. I mean, make sure that you have somebody you can trust, and that he's not afraid to tell you the real things and not sugarcoat it. Um, the other thing also is don't be afraid to ask for help. Um, Most people, or some people, say forge away, and at one point they're going to hit a wall or whatever, and like I said, what happened? Well, don't be afraid to ask people around you for help, or don't be modest, and make sure that you surround yourself with good people. Um, and then after that, I mean, if I could sell, if I could sell fingerprints, anybody could sell anything. It's just hard work. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, when we first started, I mean, we were doing 16, 17-hour days. Um, right now, I've got. I mean, we started a business. We were 3 people. Now I've got over 75 people working for me after 13 years. So now I could take a 3-day weekend, and make sure, and the business is going to go like I want it to go with my values and all that. And talking about that, your values, that's very important, that your values are reflected in your business. And that's the core of it. I mean, if you're a people person and you like to talk to people, well, put that in your core values. I mean, it's important to have and to pass that on to your people that work for you, because they're the extension of what you want them, what you want to have done. So it's important that information is passed on to everybody um, that works for you. And after that, I mean, it's just hard work. I mean, it's just get down to business, and make sure that you find out your niche, your market target, and then just go after it. And then from there, I mean, things will develop. Other products will come to towards you. You develop new things. Like even us. I mean, we started off with fingerprints, and then we went to drug testing, and now we're selling equipment. That brought us to another product, and it just keeps going and going and going. So I mean, we started off with one service, and now we got like more than a dozen services that we offer to our people.
Got it. That's amazing. But one more thing that I wanted to understand was this, like you talked about Google Ads, we know that BNI. So I
Yep.
want to like get that what are the different channels, as in like from anything online, offline, where you get business. Like let's say if there are 10 channels, if you can just say that 20% of the business comes from one, 20% from the other. Like if you can just maybe talk about the top 4 or 5, that would be great.
Yeah. So I mean, I think most people do a search on Google. So we Google is our main channeling to get the business in there. Um, but we do cold calls to get the companies on board. But if an individual needs a fingerprint for a job, he's going to probably go online, say fingerprinting, background check, or whatever. And it's to get those keywords important on your Google Ads, and find all the keywords to make sure that they're all in the queue. Um, like I said, the cold calls, we do a lot of those. We do a bit of radio. The radio right now, what we do is just as notoriety. I mean, like, we're at that level that we could have radio spots. Does it not that much? Does it give us exposure? Yes. Um, so there's that. And the other thing also that we do is we at the end of the service, 48 hours after the service is rendered, there's an email that goes out with a questionnaire. Did you like our business? And did you like the service? How did the technician react and all that? And it's on a scale of 1 to 5. Anything 3 and under, the client gets a phone call from one of our client representatives. What happened? What did you didn't like? What can we fix for the next time? And right away, they're called within the next day to make sure why they gave us that score. And if it's something we did wrong, we're going to fix it. So client services is important. Um, I mean, one satisfied customer is gonna give you good publicity to 5 or 6 people. One unsatisfied customer is gonna give you bad publicity to tens and 20 people. So
So
you
true.
better have them on your side all the time.
Got it. Great, right? So just for people as a summary, like Google Ads, then obviously You talked about some radio activities. You talked about emails, and you also talked about uh, that was the biggest, obviously, right? Like BNI would be a part of your like a sales channel where you get more people. But yeah, these are some of the ones that you mentioned
Yeah.
that you're using right now. Great. Cool. Okay, so moving on to the next question, right, which is one advice that you will have for someone who is looking to start their own business. It can be in your category, it can be outside of your category as well. So if there's one advice that you would like to give.
Sorry, I didn't understand the last part of the question.
I'm saying like this, if you can give one advice to anyone that is looking to start their own business, what would that be?
My God. Um, it's really. I mean, you got to be. There's a whole bunch of stuff, but if I can only pick one, it's pretty hard because you got to have good people around you. I mean, I'm gonna go back to that. There, you're gonna have to have good people around you. Um, that's the key of everything. I mean, human resources is. I mean, right now everybody's trying to go automated, but at the end of the day, a good handshake with a good meeting with somebody is still works. It still works. I mean, you got to be out there. You got to be yeah, have people around you that are going to help you.
So,
Yeah,
no, that's so true in terms of advice because again, I like talking about AI, obviously it is sort of going to help people with certain things, but it can't really replace all the people that the work that people do, right? Or the
exactly.
connections that you create. So that's something that everyone needs to
Yeah,
like
I mean, there's
really,
certain things that we're trying to automate, like when we get our uh, to send out the police certificates and stuff like that. That I mean, it's automated to the maximum we can. But at the end of the day, when you make a sale or you make a contact or a reference, either through BNI, through a conference, a show, the human person, the handshake, how are you, how's it going? They need to know who's behind the piece of paper that you're
yeah.
sending out, or who's behind the product that you're selling.
So true.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to the last segment of the podcast. So, what we basically do is we ask one question that the last guest asked us. So, basically, the thing is that we always ask our current guest to give one question that we'll ask the next guest. So,
Okay.
I'll ask you as well for the next guest, but before that, I'll ask you the question that I have from the last one. So, which
Yeah.
is, how can you tell the listeners and people who are going to start a new business to plan for growth?
Um, because when you start off, like when we like we were 2 3 people. As we grew, I mean, we had growing pains. uh those growing pains sometimes uh were 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 difficult, but when you do decide to expand your business, it's important not to look for the first 6 months. You need to look for 2018, 24, 36. What's going to happen in 5 years from now? And it's hard to say. Like, I know even today, I mean, if I go to my sales people and my people and I say, okay, what's going to happen in 5 years from now? He says, John, you're crazy. I mean, how can we, well, predict it, project it, and then you adjust. And it's important to predict the future because that's going to be the key of success. If you grow and you're not ready to grow, you might hurt your business more by getting more business than by staying
But
stable.
yeah,
So if you plan for it and you make sure your resources are ready, and your chain of supply is good, and all the material that you need to do that is solid, well, then you could predict, and then you could even verify with your suppliers. Hey, listen, if I get 20,000 orders more a month. Can you handle it? Can you give me the material? Oh, I don't know. Well, then he's going to tell you that you're going to have a problem down the road, so then you got to start looking for other solutions. So it's important to plan.
Yeah,
That's my answer.
it is. It is, right? Like, I guess
Yeah,
at the time, like things keep on changing, right? Like we are talking about AI. So even as a business, I don't think like businesses can like disregard that AI is not going to matter at all. Like it's essential that you start factoring that in. And therefore,
exactly.
when you have a plan, um, it's not like you are married to the plan and you can't really change anything because things can change quickly. But when you
Exactly.
have a plan, you know that, okay, this is what you need to do. And then there'll be some things that keep on changing, but then you can just try and adjusting and maybe sort of uh, getting better with the plan because as a business, everyone knows that not just as a business, right? But for anyone out there, things change quite fast. We are in that sort of an era where things are like changing at times, like every day.
Yep.
So but having that plan is always something you can go back to and be like, okay, are we aligned with this? Are we growing? Are we not? And if you're not, then what's that sort of a thing that's, let's say, limiting that growth? So yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
that's so true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I have to ask you the question that you want to
Oh my
share
God.
with.
So the next person, what is gonna? I gotta think about it for a second.
For sure. Take your time.
I think how they handle human resources. I mean, I don't know how to, but like you said, AI is going to be with us. We have no choice. It's going to be there. But people are going to be there also because you need somebody to always be
Yeah,
behind the keyboard or behind the programming or whatever. So dealing with human resources, how can I put this? Um, do you have a plan going forward in your business to incorporate human resources in your business and make sure to keep them on board? Because right now we're in an era where people are looking for jobs. I mean, there's more jobs than people to do them. How do you retain your people? Actually, that's the major question. How do you retain your people in your business? How do you make sure you keep them loyal to you?
that's a amazing question. And I'm really excited to hear about the reply on this one because
Yeah.
this is again, right? Like this is something I guess that every business is thinking about right now because um, like every other day you get an email saying that okay we can replace this sort of thing for you, we can replace the sales process for you, we can replace this writing thing for you, we can replace like every there's every day a new tool that's coming up which is sort of trying to replace a person, which is not ideal, like
To a
um
certain point,
I, yeah,
yes.
yeah, but
But
then it's yeah.
yeah, like your key players. I mean, you gotta be able to keep them. Yeah.
And that's the thing with people, right? Like, like as we discussed, that things change. The tool won't really understand when things will change, right? But that person can because he will have that sort of an experience of being there in the organization, understanding the core of the organizations. Because
Yeah.
tools really can't understand culture. They can't really understand how the organization function. So you can't really expect them to do everything in the way that you really want to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Cool. I guess we are almost at this is the ending of the podcast, but thanks a lot for doing this. Thanks a lot for sharing all the insights and the wisdom. I definitely think that anyone who will be looking to start a business or who wants to do, like, it's not just for anyone that wants to start a business. I guess someone who's already doing one can
Hmm.
learn.
Yeah.
Every business owner or every entrepreneur, or for that matter, every person needs to learn every day. So anyone that wants to, I guess they can. So again, but once again, thanks a lot for doing this.
Yeah. And if one last note, I mean, as a business owner, you don't be afraid to say I was wrong or I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh, it's not uh, it's not a bad thing not to know something. So it's a
makes
bad
complete
thing.
sense.
It's a bad thing not to know something, but to make people think you know it. That's
Yeah,
even worse.
yeah. And again, right, like that at times it's just the ego that's basically saying that we sort of need to know everything, which is
Yeah,
not possible for anyone, right? Like how can you mentioned you have a team of 75 plus people. If as a business owner someone will say that like they know everything that the 75 people know, that's not humanly
impossible.
possible, right?
Exactly.
Like so, and like why do you even want to know that? Like you have certain things to
Yeah,
do, as like every person has certain things to do, right? Doesn't really matter if they're a business owner or if they are someone who's doing, let's say, whatever part of the job that they do. So everyone has their own certain tasks, everyone has their own capabilities. All like one thing that I always realize or think about is I need to just capitalize on my strengths. If there's certain weaknesses, I need to understand that is that something that I should work on, or is that something that I can pass on? Like, is there someone
exactly.
better to do that? If there's
Exactly.
someone who can do that better than me, I should
Yep.
always have them do it.
Yep.
But if it's an essential sort of a thing, like as a business owner, sales is something that we need to be good at. Like talking to people most of the time, I can't really make that a thumb of like a rule of thumb, but mostly we need to do that. But there can be a lot of things that we don't really need to do, and therefore other people that are better at that should do it. I always go to my team asking them questions about things that I don't know.
Yep.
Uh, so yeah, like everyone need to be sort of secure in a way that they don't need to just show people that they know everything.
Exactly.
So
And
I totally,
and you'll get respect more from your people underneath you
yeah,
because they say, "Hey, the boss doesn't know it. Maybe he's human." So
yeah, true.
yeah,
Everyone is human, right? And as I mentioned,
yeah,
like everyone can't know everything.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, thanks a lot for doing this. I'll just